I was driving down the highway the other day, just stuck in traffic, and I looked up and saw one of those billboards. You know the ones I'm talking about.
Let me guess. Giant yellow font. A picture of a gold bar that looks kind of like a big brick of cheese.
That's the one. It was screaming something like, "The dollar is dying, buy gold now." And I mean, usually I just roll my eyes at that stuff. It feels a little fringe. Kind of like it's for people who have a bunker in their backyard and, a 10-year supply of canned beans.
It's that whole financial doom marketing. It works, I guess, but it definitely has a stigma.
Exactly. It feels like a late-night infomercial. But then we got this stack of research for today's deep dive. We're looking at this guide called Let's Set Up Your Silver IRA Together. And as I started reading it, I realized something. If you, strip away all the billboard hype and the doomsday preppers, the actual mechanism underneath this Silver IRA, it's surprisingly sophisticated.
It really is. It's this weird intersection of high finance and, well, it's almost like a heist movie.
A heist movie is the perfect way to describe it. Because on one hand, we're talking about tax codes, IRS forms, retirement brackets, boring stuff.
The paperwork.
But on the other hand, we are literally talking about vaults, armed guards, and armored trucks moving actual bars of precious metal.
It's definitely more exciting than looking at your mutual fund statement.
Right. But here's the thing. I went into this pretty skeptical. I thought, is this just some kind of scam to sell coins to retirees? So before we get into the vaults and the silver, we have to talk about the source. Who's telling us to do this?
That's the most important question, really. The guide we're unpacking today is written by a guy named Doug Young. And, I checked his credentials. He is definitely not some guy recording YouTube videos in his basement.
Okay, so not the buy gold now billboard guy.
No. Doug Young is a serious heavyweight. He's a financial markets researcher with over 20 years in the game. He's been a financial director, and he's specifically specialized in gold and silver IRAs for, over 15 years.
And the volume of his research is just, it's kind of crazy, right?
It's staggering. He's authored over 500 financial research articles. 500! So when he lays out a roadmap for how to set up a silver IRA, he's not just guessing. He's seen the regulations change, he's seen the market cycles, and most importantly, he has seen where people really mess this up.
And that's what I want to focus on today, because reading this guide, my main takeaway was just, wow, there are a lot of ways to mess this up.
Oh, absolutely. The IRS does not play around with this stuff.
So our mission today is to walk through Doug Young's 6-step process. We're going to look at the cast of characters you have to hire, the specific tax rules, and the physical logistics of getting silver bars into a retirement account.
Right.
But I want to start with the why. Not why buy silver, but why is it so complicated?
What do you mean by that?
Well, if I want to invest in silver, why can't I just, walk into a pawn shop, buy a bag of silver coins, put them in my wall safe, and just call it my retirement fund? Why do I need all this paperwork?
That is the million-dollar question. And the answer is 2 words. Constructive receipt.
Constructive receipt. Okay, that sounds like something a lawyer charges you $500 an hour just to explain. Break it down for us.
I'll keep it simple. The IRS gives you tax breaks on an IRA. Because that money is for your future. It's for when you're 70 and retired.
Right.
If you have the silver in your wall safe, you have constructive receipt of it, which means you could technically take it out, sell it, and, buy a jet ski tomorrow.
I mean, I could.
Exactly. And because you could, the IRS says, nope, that's not a retirement account. That's just you owning stuff. If you're caught holding the silver yourself, the IRS treats the entire value of that account as a withdrawal.
Ouch.
And it gets worse. You have to pay income tax on all of it right away. And if you're under 59 and a half, they slap you with a 10% early withdrawal penalty. It completely destroys the investment.
Okay, so the wall safe is out, and burying it in the garden is out.
Strictly forbidden. To get the tax break, you have to give up physical control. And that is why you need a team. You just can't DIY this.
Let's meet the team then. The guide outlines this cast of characters that you basically have to hire to make this all legal. The first one is the Silver IRA company.
Think of them as the project manager or the general contractor.
Okay, so if I'm building a house, I don't call the cement guy myself. I hire a contractor to coordinate everything.
Exactly. The Silver IRA company, your main point of contact. They're the ones you talk to. They help you fill out the application, they help you fund the account, and they help you buy the metal. But their biggest job is just coordination.
And looking at the guide, they also handle the really boring stuff.
The paperwork.
Yes. There's a stat here from Young. He says, a good Silver IRA company will handle up to 95% of the paperwork for you.
Which is a huge deal. IRS transfer forms are so dense they're confusing. Having a specialist who knows exactly which box to check is it's crucial.
But here's the problem. I Googled Silver IRA company before we started recording, and there are hundreds of them. And honestly, some of them look a little shady. How do you even pick one?
You have to do your homework. Doug Young really emphasizes looking for a track record. You want transparency. In the text, he actually points to Augusta Precious Metals as a top-reviewed example.
Okay.
He used a comparative market analysis to score them. But the specific name matters less than the criteria. You want reviews, you want educational materials, and you want zero hidden fees.
All right, so we hire a project manager, but they aren't the ones actually holding the money or the metal, are they?
No, and that's a safety feature. You generally don't want the person who is selling you the gold to be the same person telling you it's safe in their vault.
Good point.
You want separation. That brings us to the second character, the custodian.
The custodian. This sounds very official.
It is.
Sure.
The custodian is a financial institution. It's got to be a bank or an IRS-approved non-bank trustee. Their only job is compliance. They hold the legal title to the assets.
So when the IRS comes knocking and asks, hey, does this person actually have a retirement account? The custodian is the one who answers.
Precisely. They track the money coming in, they track the metal being bought, and they report every single thing to the government. They are the compliance shield.
Do I have to, go out and interview custodians? That sounds really tedious.
Usually no. Your Silver IRA company, the project manager, they'll have a preferred relationship with the custodian. They'll say, we work with Equity Trust or whoever, and they'll just set it up for you. You can pick your own, but sticking with their partner usually makes the paperwork go faster.
Okay, so we've got the team, we have the company to run the show, and the custodian to keep it legal. Now we need the actual account. Step 3 in the guide is opening the account.
Right.
And this is where we have to dust off our tax knowledge.
The famous big 3. Traditional, Roth, and SEP.
I feel like people just nod along when they hear these terms but don't really know the difference. Let's role play this. Say I'm making a lot of money right now. High tax bracket. I hate paying taxes today. Which one do I pick?
You pick the traditional Silver IRA. You contribute with pre-tax money, so it actually lowers your taxable income for this year. You save money today.
There's a catch.
But the catch is, when you retire and you start selling that silver to live on, you pay taxes on the withdrawals then.
So I'm betting that when I'm 70, I'll be in a lower tax bracket than I am now.
Exactly. It's a tax deferral strategy.
Okay, scenario 2. I'm younger. Maybe I'm not making huge money yet, but I think taxes are only going up in the future. Or maybe I just think silver's going to go to the moon.
Then you want the Roth Silver IRA. You pay the taxes on your income now. You put after-tax money in.
Yeah.
But, and this is the magic part, it grows completely tax-free.
So if I buy silver at, say, $30 an ounce, and in 30 years it's $500 an ounce.
You pull it out, and the IRS doesn't get a single dime of that profit.
Wow. That is tempting.
It's very powerful if you expect the asset to appreciate a lot.
And the SEPI, what was that one?
That's the Simplified Employee Pension. It's for self-employed folks or small business owners. It basically works like a traditional IRA, but the contribution limits are much, much higher.
Okay, so we've picked our team, we've picked our tax bucket. Now comes the part where I get a little nervous. Step 4, funding the account, moving the money.
This is what I call the danger zone.
The guide outlines 2 ways to do this, a rollover and a transfer. And Doug Young seems to be screaming from the pages, do the transfer, do the transfer. Why is he so scared of the rollover?
Because the rollover is a trap for the unwary. Let me paint you a picture. You have an old 401k from a previous job with, say, $100,000 in it.
Okay.
You tell them you want to do a rollover, they say, great, and they cut a check. And they mail it to you.
To me, personally, it just lands in my mailbox next to the pizza coupons.
Yes, you physically hold the check. Now, the second you get that check, a clock starts ticking. The IRS gives you exactly 60 days to deposit that money into the new Silver IRA.
60 days sounds like a long time.
It sounds like a long time until you go on vacation, or you get sick, or the dog eats the mail. If you deposit that check on day 61, it is an absolute disaster.
What happens?
The IRS treats the entire $100,000 as a withdrawal. You owe income tax on it immediately, so that could be 30 grand gone right there. And if you're under 59 and a half, they hit you with that 10% penalty. You could lose 40% of your savings just because you were one day late.
That is a horror story. I do not want that stress.
Nobody does. And that's why Young insists on the second option, the transfer.
How is that different?
A transfer is custodian to custodian. You never touch the money. Your old 401k provider sends the funds directly to the new Silver IRA custodian. It never hits your bank account.
So no clock.
No 60-day clock, no tax withholding, no tax reporting. It's just clean.
Okay. Lesson learned. Always. Always do the transfer.
Always.
Now, speaking of money, let's talk limits. We're in the year 2026 for this example. Can I just dump my entire life savings into the Silver account?
Well, if you're moving money from an old account, doing that transfer route, there's no limit. You can move $1 million if you have it. But for new contributions, money from your paycheck, the limits are tight. For 2026, the limit is $7,500.
And if you're a bit older?
If you're 50 or older, you get a catch-up provision. The IRS lets you put in an extra bit, so $8,600.
Okay, $8,600, that's a decent chunk. But there was a warning in the guide about aggregate limits that kind of confused me.
This is a huge gotcha that catches so many people. That $7,500 limit, that is for all your IRAs combined.
Wait, explain that.
Okay, so let's say you have a regular Roth IRA at Vanguard where you buy stocks, and then you open this new Silver IRA. You cannot put $7,500 in the Vanguard account and $7,500 in the Silver account.
Oh, I bet people think they're two separate buckets.
Everyone thinks that.
Yeah.
But the IRS sees one big bucket labeled IRA. You have $7,500 total to split between them however you want. If you max out both, you've overcontributed, and here come the penalties.
That is such a crucial detail. Okay, let's get to the fun part. Step 5, purchasing. We've funded the account. Now we go shopping.
Finally.
I have to admit, I had this image of going to an antique store or a pawn shop. I love those old pirate-looking coins, or maybe some old silverware.
Whoa, stop right there. No pirate treasure? No grandma's tea set?
Why not? I mean, silver is silver, isn't it?
To a chemist, maybe? But not to the IRS. The IRS has extremely strict standards for what they call fineness.
As in purity.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
For silver, the standard is 0.999. That means 99.9% pure silver.
So sterling silver is out?
Way out. Sterling is usually 92.5%. The IRS basically considers that junk in this context. Most collectible coins, they don't make the cut either. The IRS wants standardized investment-grade bullion.
So what can I buy then?
The guide lists the usual suspects, things like American silver eagles, Canadian silver maple leafs, Austrian Philharmonics.
Why those specifically?
Because they're minted by sovereign governments. An American eagle is guaranteed by the U.S. Mint to be exactly 1 ounce of 0.999 silver. It makes them fungible. It makes the accounting easy.
That makes sense. You don't want the custodian having to appraise every weird coin you bought on eBay.
Exactly. And here's a little secret the guide mentions. Even though we call it a Silver IRA, you aren't actually limited to just silver.
Really?
Yeah. It's technically a precious metals IRA. You can hold gold, platinum, and palladium as long as they meet their own purity standards, so you can mix and match.
Nice. Okay, so we bought our box of American Eagles. They're shiny, they're beautiful, they're pure. Now, where do they go? This brings us to step 6, the vault.
A vault. Cue the dramatic music.
This is the part where the whole physical ownership thing feels a little abstract because I don't actually get to see it, do I?
You don't. Remember that constructive receipt rule. You can't touch it. It has to be shipped directly from the dealer to an IRS-approved depository.
And what exactly is an IRS-approved depository? Is it just a safe deposit box at my local bank?
No. Think bigger. Think Fort Knox, but private. These are specialized logistics facilities designed for one thing, securing precious metals.
So we're talking real security.
Oh, serious security. Doug Young describes the standards. 204/7 video surveillance, motion sensors, vibration detectors, and armed guards on patrol. It is a fortress.
And I assume it's insured.
That's the critical part. If you kept silver in your house and it burned down, your homeowner's insurance might fight you on it or have a low cap. But in a depository, the metal is fully insured. If the vault somehow gets robbed, which is highly unlikely, you are made whole.
But, and I feel like I have to be the buzzkill here, fortresses aren't free. Armed guards, they aren't cheap.
No, they're not.
The guide doesn't list specific dollar amounts because they change, but we have to be honest. This costs money.
It does. And this is the friction of owning physical assets. With a stock ETF, you pay a tiny expense ratio. With a Silver IRA, you have an account setup fee. You have an annual fee for the custodian. You have an annual storage fee for the depository and insurance costs.
So you basically start every year in the hole.
In a way, yes. The price of silver has to go up enough just to cover those fees and inflation for you to break even. It is a more expensive asset to hold than a digital stock.
So that really begs the question, why do it? If it's this complex, if the IRS is watching you, if there are all these fees, What is the upside? Why did Doug Young write a whole guide on this?
It comes down to two main arguments: hedging and insurance.
Let's unpack hedging first.
So silver and gold often move differently than the stock market. We call it non-correlated. When inflation is ripping higher and your cash is losing value, metals often go up. When the stock market crashes because of some geopolitical fear, investors flock to safety and metals go up.
So it's a balancer. If my tech stocks are tanking, my silver might be rallying.
Exactly. Just smooths out the ride.
And the insurance argument. This kind of goes back to that doomsday billboard, doesn't it?
A little bit. But you don't have to be a doomsday prepper to worry about something called counterparty risk.
Counterparty risk. Translate that for me.
Think about a bank account. That money isn't actually sitting in a vault. It's a digital entry on a server. The bank has lent that money out. If the bank fails, like we saw with some regional banks recently, that money can get tied up.
But silver is. It's just silver.
Exactly. It has no counterparty risk. A bar of silver is a bar of silver. It doesn't rely on a CEO or a board of directors or a bank's balance sheet to have value. For a lot of people, paying those annual storage fees is worth the peace of mind of knowing they own a tangible asset that exists completely outside of the digital banking system.
It's the ultimate break glass in case of emergency asset.
It is. But, and we have to stress this, it is not liquid.
Right. I can't pay for my groceries with a silver bar.
No. And if you have a real emergency like your roof caves in and you need cash tomorrow, a Silver IRA is not where you want that money.
Why not? Can't I just sell it?
You can, but it takes time. You have to tell the custodian to sell. They have to find a buyer. The trade has to settle. The cash has to be transferred. It can take days, maybe even weeks.
And if you do it before you're old enough?
You get hit with all the taxes and penalties. So Young is very clear in the guide. This should be the long-term portion of your portfolio. This is not your emergency fund. Don't put money in here that you might need next year.
There was one last detail in the source that I hadn't really thought about, but it's super important. Inheritance.
Yes. This is pure logistics, but man, it matters.
What happens to all that silver when you die?
It goes to your beneficiaries. But, and this is a big but, only if you filled out the form.
It always comes back to the paperwork.
It does. The guide really highlights how critical it is to keep your beneficiary designations up to date. IRAs generally bypass probate, which is great, it's fast. But that only works if the custodian knows who to give this stuff to. You don't want your life savings in silver going into legal limbo, or worse, going to an ex-spouse because you forgot to update a piece of paper 10 years ago.
That would be a tragedy of a different kind. Okay, so let's zoom out. We've gone through all 6 steps. It feels like a lot of logistics.
It is a lot.
Recap it for us in a nutshell. What is the roadmap?
Okay, here's the cheat sheet. Step 1, you hire a Silver IRA company. They're your project manager. Step 2, they set you up with a custodian to handle the IRS compliance. Step 3, you pick your tax bucket, traditional or Roth, depending on your strategy. Step 4, you move the money and you do it via a direct transfer to avoid that 60-day tax trap.
Right.
Step 5, you buy IRS-approved, 0.999, pure bullion, no pirate coins. And step 6, it gets trucked off to a secure, insured vault with armed guards.
When you lay it out like that, it's so clear why the source insists you can't DIY this. It really is a specialized process.
It is. But for the right investor, it unlocks an asset class that is totally different from anything else in their portfolio.
You know, reading this guide, I kept thinking about the difference between price and value. We track the price of our stocks every day on our phones. It flickers green, it flickers red. But value, holding a bar of silver, there's a permanence to it.
It's been money for 5,000 years. Apple stock hasn't.
That is a powerful thought. But here's the question I want to leave the listener with today. We live in a world of instant gratification. One-click ordering. Instant Venmo transfers. A Silver IRA is the exact opposite. It's slow, it's physical, it's heavily guarded, it has friction.
And friction is the price of security sometimes.
Exactly. So does that friction make it safer? Or does it just make it a relic? Is the psychological comfort of knowing you have physical wealth locked away in a vault worth all the fees and the headaches of maintaining it?
That's the question everyone has to answer for themselves.
Well, hopefully Doug Young's guide has made that answer just a little bit easier to find. Thanks for listening to this Deep Dive.
Stay diversified, everyone.
See you next time.